Going on, Trailer Trash? Tuesday, September 30th. It is my birthday eve. And surprise, surprise, I haven't started drinking yet. Uh, you know, in my defense, it's only 5 o'clock. But recently I did hear a wise man say, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. Uh, I save that for rare occasions these days. I'm a little too old to be drinking like that. But anyhow, I will start shortly since I've got a couple days off. Anyways, so 54 years old. I'll be 54 years old a little after 4 o'clock in the morning. And I, like many of you, many people, never thought I'd make it this far. Uh, a lot of the people we grew up with didn't make it this far. And I'm speaking of Galway kids. We had many of our friends pass away in one fashion or another through the years, leading up to and right after graduation. And, well, graduation or, us getting out of school, however you exited. We'll talk about that some other time. Um, yeah, a lot of people, mainly car accidents, alcohol related car accidents. There was a few of our friends um, that were at a party, a local Galway party, and somehow got beaten unconscious or beaten to death. We don't really know. And placed in a car. Car was set on fire in the front yard, and they never solved it. We have a lot of theories. That's all they are. Cops never, to my knowledge, to this day, never caught anybody. We don't think it was one of our own that did it. I will say that. I won't talk too much about it. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it in my book. I'm not sure. Haven't gotten there. But yeah. So morality. 54 years of age. Where have I been? This is the fucking question. Grew up in a fucking trailer park. Formative years, Trailer made in the 80s. And from there, fuck. Well, let's back up a little. So, starting with the trailer park. Well, before the trailer park, my mom was married. Paul was abusive. Moved out of his place, moved into the trailer park. Spent the next several years just surviving, trying to survive, and I guess looking back, I did very well at it because I'm still here. But at the time, it didn't feel so well. It didn't feel so great. A lot of, getting beat up, fighting, drugs, girls, just scumbaggery, delinquency. I mean, I would have been a total criminal had I been an adult. I fucking used to my trailer park. Everybody knew I was a fucking delinquent. So here's what smart ass John would do. I have no idea who this kid was. Uh, I used to steal car stereos. Yeah, why not? What the fuck was I thinking? I used to steal car stereos, radar detectors. Just me and a couple delinquent friends. Just we didn't give a shit. I started to give a shit though. When I was 16, I remember I had stolen this Alpine car stereo in the middle of the night out of this car, ripped it right out of the car, installed it into a 1972 Chevy C10 Cheyenne that I had traded for some other car, guy up the road. I don't even remember his name. Rob Harrington. He used to live right next to you. I forget his name with all the kids. Anyway, I was such a fucking idiot. I installed this stolen car stereo into my truck, but I was like, well, I'm going to be really fucking smart about it, and I'm going to build a box in the center console and hide the stereo. I'm 16 years old. No fucking clue. No fucking clue. My mom had no idea, sorry, mom, that I was such a fucking delinquent. And needless to say, obviously the guy was pissed. I mean, as an adult, I'd be fucking livid. I'd be looking for the kid. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I get it. And don't you're gonna judge all you fucking want. I've already judged myself, so it's fine. So fast forward a couple weeks, I'm driving around the trailer park, I'm cranking the stereo, having a good old time. People start notice, you know. Well, I'm in school. Now keep in mind, when I was 16, I quit school. I quit high school, got a job, did some other shit. The following year, was it the following year? Maybe a year and a half later, I went back to school. But I was no longer living in the trailer park. It was right before I was 18. So that timeline is, you're going to see that timeline in the book more than anything, but right towards the end. Anyways, they found out I wasn't living in the school district. I wasn't paying tuition. I ended up getting kicked out at that point. So that's how I exited school. I went on to college afterwards, after Jerry Garcia died in 95. But anyway, it's a story for another time. However, so shortly after I started cruising around thinking I'm big shit with this fucking radio in my pickup truck, I'm in school and the vice principal comes down and grabs me out of class. He's like, "Oh, Mr. Kiernan." I'm like, "Oh shit." Like, grab your stuff, come with me. Head down to the principal's office. Sitting in the principal's office, and they start to tell me, well, we got to keep you here. Deputy Marshal is coming in, and he's gonna arrest you. And I'm like, fuck did I do? I did so much shit. I don't know I don't know what the fuck they caught me with. I don't even know. And they were like, something about car stereos or something, and we don't want to get into it. They were actually really cool to me, considering I was never a dick in school. See, that's the thing. I was never a dick. I was a delinquent, but I was never a dick. I was actually a pretty charming delinquent. So I kind of, schmooze. It's kind of, my mantra through most of my life. So, cop picks me up, Deputy Marshal, Saratoga County Sheriff's Department, picks me up. And come with me, takes me down, takes me to the jailhouse, books me, lets me sit in the front seat of the car and smoke cigarettes. I'm like, "Hey, you mind if I smoke?" He's like, "Your mom okay with it?" I'm like, "Sure." Puffing cigarettes in the front seat of the cop car. Yeah. So anyway, so I stopped stealing car stereos after that because that's no good. So I got busted for that. They let me go, no charges. I paid a fine. Well, mom paid a fine. Yeah. So that was the punk I was for a little while. So I stopped doing that. Uh, Moved on to different things, more partying, shit like that. Just not in the business of stealing other people's shit anymore. Jeez, I can't even believe it. But yeah, so that was fun. Lessons, lessons, lessons. All right, so 54 years old. So I'm coming around to my story. Not really a story. I'm coming around to what I'm figuring out at this age, and how we go from growing up like that, or growing up any which way, and becoming mature adults, and productive members of society, as you will, or whatever. I don't know. I got imposter syndrome. I still have no fucking clue what I'm doing. Nobody telling me either, okay? So, um I think we can all agree that in order to continue and shed the skin, so to speak, of our indiscretions growing up, we have to kind of go through this rebranding period. And for me personally, I think my rebranding was when I left New York. And I left New York, I moved away from New York in late 2001. Met a girl in San Antonio that my sister was, friends with. Hit it off. Older girl. I was in awe. She just had the life. I'm like, this is great. Rebuild myself, shed some dead weight, rebrand. So that's how I personally got away from all the trappings of that first life. First, I wouldn't say chapter, a couple chapters, because my 20s were really fucking blurry. Um, attended bar, ran some bars. Even when I went to San Antonio, when I moved to San Antonio in 2001, I took over as a bar manager at this swanky, 4-star Northern cuisine Italian restaurant with an attached jazz club. Um, but all of those days are so blurry. So that was like my first rebrand, I guess, was in my 30s when I first moved away. I was 29 when I first moved away from New York. And I couldn't think of a better thing looking backwards. I couldn't think of a better thing for my life than to get away from the label I had created for myself, the trouble I used to follow around, that used to follow me around. I'm not saying it wasn't fun. I'm saying it was destructive. Very, very fucking destructive behavior that I engaged in basically nonstop. From the word go when I first hit the trailer park to when I fucking got on that plane and left New York the first time. First time, I mean, when I left New York, I'd go back and get my shit and drove down. But, anyways, yeah. So I credit 54 years on this planet to me being able to get the fuck out of that crab bucket. There, I said it. It's a fucking crab bucket. There's an old saying. I don't like to give her really much credit for anything, but I think my sister said this to me at one point. If you have one crab in a bucket, that crab being large enough can get itself out of the bucket. If you put two or more crabs in a bucket, as each crab tries to pull itself out of the bucket, the other crabs will drag it down back into the bucket. Hence the term crab bucket. And had I not gotten away from enough people that I allowed to be bad influences on me, they weren't bad influences just because of their being. They were just I allowed them to be bad influences on me. If I had not gotten away from them far enough, I would not have been able to leave New York. I would not have been able to rebrand, and I would not be sitting here rambling to you. That makes sense. So this week, talking trash about myself, talking trash about myself at almost 54 years of age, and actually really excited about where this is going for me. This this new phase, because I'm not rebranding anymore. It's just a new phase. just kind of expanding on what I've already set in place over the past several years since my divorce, and realizing more and more every day how important things are and how unimportant other things are. And really, really understanding the difference. You got to do what keeps you sane. It's not really doing what makes you happy, it's what keeps you sane, you know? Someone said to me yesterday, you don't really stop for anything, do you? And I'm thinking, I stop quite a bit. I just like variety. And I like a lot of different things, and I can't focus on one thing too long, obviously, or that book would be fucking done. But who cares? Who cares? We all do it the way we do it. Like I do these little ramblings and I don't edit them. So you get to listen to the real Johnny rambling away. Love it or hate it. Anyways, that's all I got. I'm getting out of here. Go crack a beer. Maybe take Logan for a cruise in the bus as our other dog Lila is staring at me from across the room. She's drama. A loud car drove by. Little baby got scared. Anyways, all right. 54. Gonna be a beautiful fucking year. Beautiful fucking year. All right. Later on, trailer trash.